Welcome to Beanie Composting. I'm gonna go through you my knowledge of how it is owning one of these hot composting bins. There's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of hard work. I've had this for about 3 years now, and some of the claims that they say it works, it doesn't work. There's lots of people that are, fed up with them, find them very difficult to maintain. So I just wanted to share with you my knowledge of how it is owning one, what you can do to sort of keep it going, keep the temperature up, and I just want to give you a bit of knowledge of why we got one and how we got to this stage. So first of all, we just had a normal composting bin round the back of the garage here, and we ended up with mice and some rats, and so we just done a load of research on the internet, and we came across this hot composting bin, and it said it was like about 99% rodent proof. It was, when we bought it, it was about £180, so quite expensive for just composting, and I got a lot of stick from the missus out of that one, saying, bloody hell, why am I not getting a new kitchen and we're spending 180 quid on a hot composting bin. But anyway, we got it, and then once you buy one, you end up getting a bit obsessed with it. So that's the first problem I found. You end up, it kind of takes over your life, and you start treating it like a bit of a baby. So it takes a lot of looking after. But what I will say is, we got rid of the rodent problem, so that was great. And we live in Surrey, we've got a smallish sort of garden, but the other half of me, we quite enjoy our gardening, so we get a lot of garden waste, plus we do lots of cooking. By the way, we've got a channel called Beanie Chef, so I'm a professional chef, so if you like cooking, have a look at that channel. You'll find some great recipes on there to try out. But like I say, I do a lot of cooking, and so does the missus, so we get a lot of waste from that. This one claimed you could put raw meats, raw fish into it, cooked meats, anything cooked. So that was another thing that led me to think I wouldn't mind, trying this out. But anyway, I don't want to just waffle on for Britain, so let's get down to the basics. The hot composting bin was working quite well up until last weekend. If you live in the UK, you would have probably had some sort of snow at some stage, but we had a little bit last weekend. The temperatures dropped to about -2, -3, which this composting bin does claim that it works below that, but every year since we've had it, come November, December, January, February, I always find it drops, and it's very frustrating that you get it starts dropping the temperature, and you find it very difficult to bring the temperature back up. So what I want to try and do is share what I do to raise the temperature up, and how we run this thing, because it's like a machine. Although it doesn't take any power, you're constantly looking after it, investing your time into it, so the actual compost you get from it is really great, but it does take a lot of investment into it. So this channel now is just going to share some thoughts and processes of what we put in ours, what we do, how we manage it, and what sort of results we get. So if you come over, I'll show you what happened. Obviously, bloody hell, you can't get the workers anymore. So as I say, just before last weekend, I had that in the green, and it was ticking over quite nicely. But as you can see, we're down to 20 degrees now, which is still warm, but I think the airflow is restricted, and this seems to always happen this sort of time of year. So I think the last time I emptied this was probably early December, and what we now, we're at, I think, 30th of January. So I'm going to open it up, we're going to see how it's looking inside, empty some, and then follow me on this journey, and we're going to see if we can get this back up to the green. One of the things when I've looked on the forums and that, on the Hotbin forum, a lot of people moan about having to empty it. It's quite messy and problematic. So I'm going to show you, obviously let's do it, watch and see how it goes, but obviously undo the straps, let them right down. I always have like some sort of tray underneath that I just put right next to it, pull the door off, and as you can see there are quite a few worms in there, which isn't a bad thing, but it does say that when it's hot you don't get any of that sort of stuff. Anyhow, it's freezing out here as well. You do still get stuff growing in there once it gets colder, so that is sometimes a problem. I don't know, it's not bad compost considering I didn't empty that until probably early December, the last time I emptied that. But I think the reason we're struggling now to get airflow is because it just needs emptying. So I get, when you buy it you get this thing with it, and I find some people moan about it, but I find this really good. So I just rake it out into the tray and then I go into a bucket or into a bag. There are quite a few worms, and this is the problem I think people moan about, is when the whole thing just collapses. And I don't know if you can see in this bucket there is stuff that, because it's not actually hot, you've got stuff that is sprouting in there. I can feel there is some heat in there, so that's a good thing. And I think if you can see on camera there is some steam coming out now. So I'm going to need to grab some bags. So we've got a bag now, so normally what I do is I just empty it straight into a bag and then I leave that to mature, and like I say, the compost you get from this is amazing, so don't be put off by the hard work. Your rewards will show in the garden, but it does take a lot of maintenance. This has only been in there for a couple of months and it's already looking fantastic. And I don't know if you can see there, we put eggshells in there that don't break up really well, but if you crush them down you've got all the protein going into the garden. You've got stuff that if the temperature isn't really hot, then you will have stuff growing in there. So if you are looking to put this over the garden and you want it, or to use it with seedlings, then it isn't going to be 100%. You know, if you put tomato seeds in there, they could sprout or germinate, and then you could end up having stuff that you don't want in there. That is the only issue if you can't keep it hot all the time. The heat is still in there, but I think this is just compacted down too much that we're not having any airflow now. But this rake thing is very good for people do moan, but I find it amazing to get the stuff out like this. It is a job that when you're finished you will need to take a bath or shower, but when it comes to summertime it's not as bad as this, and I think it's great for the environment. Everyone should try and get one. So if you own one, you'll probably know that you've got small holes for the airflow. So these can get blocked if you don't empty it for a long time, but as you can see they're pretty much all still free, so the airflow should be okay. And with this, because it's not too wet but it's not dry, so it's not all collapsing, you know, I've basically got most of that off without anything collapsing out. Got to parts where I've still got the paper and I've still got some vegetables, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that a day on emptying it. So I'm going to get all that out of the way and then come back to me after that. Right, so I'm going to try and clear all this off and just get the lid back on. As you can see, this is quite messy. It's raining now, so that's not pleasant. So I'm going to wrap this one up by just getting the lid back on. So make sure all your edges are nice and clean. Things do drop down occasionally, which can be a bit annoying, but try and get that on nice and tight. Make sure you've not got any bits of wood and that trapped in between, and then we're going to get the straps back up. And then tighten that up. Tighten them as tight as you can, make sure it's nice and airtight there. Okay, so if we go back in, it's raining, which is not ideal, but I'm just gonna give it a good stir up, try and get all the stuff back to the bottom where you've got that gap now. So the bits that have fallen out at the bottom, which are not composted properly, then I put straight back on the top. Unfortunately, you have to put the worms in as well. Litland's crying now, so I'm just going to leave that as it is, and we'll come back to it tomorrow and show you what's going on. So thank you for watching, and join me again soon.